Hi guys, today I'm gonna show you top 10 cleanup crayfish for a 10 gallon. Remember, this is for 10 gallons. Don't expect all these fish to fit in a 5 gallon. But for those of you who have a 5 gallon, later I will do a 5 gallon video. So first we got pepper Corydoras. Now, pepper Corydoras will not go sucking on the glass like a literal Pleco, but they will suck up your substrate and make sure that your substrate is really clean. And they might even aerate it. Yeah. So, yeah, and they're cute. Yeah, they're really cute. Now, next up, we got the Kuhli Loach. Now, Kuhli Loaches will also aerate your substrate with their long bodies. Worms dig into your substrate. But remember, just like the pepper Corys, Kuhli Loaches have barbels. Don't have any really rough substrate, but what you should have, what you should have is either smooth gravel or you should either have smooth gravel or sand. Now next is the Otocinclus catfish. Now for the rest of the video, I'm gonna call these guys autos. So autos are a fish that's actually gonna clean your glass and suck on your glass. And actually be a nice cleanup fish. And they're very cute. Like, look at them. Look at this. Look at how cute they are. And there's multiple varieties of them too. Out there. Yeah. They're catfish. There's multiple varieties of them out there. Next, we got the Neocaridina Shrimp. Now, I will recommend the Sakura shrimp and all of its color varieties, like the red cherry shrimp and the blue dream shrimp. Videos about what I meant to say, the video's ending. I wasn't actually meaning to say that first part of the video was ending. So the red cherry shrimp, blue dream shrimp, they will clean up your substrate to make sure. No, not the substrate, but they will feed on little particles and stuff floating around your tank. Yeah, they feed on particles. And they're really cute too. We'll also add color to your tank. Yeah, if your fish needs a splash of color, then this is one of the best ways on Earth to do it. Now, one thing I have to warn you about, these guys will need some calcium, just like some of the other creatures on this list. So you should get a source of calcium like some cuttlebone or crushed coral. Now, next up we got snails. Now, snails will also suck on the glass and clean up that algae really fast. Now, if you want something that won't take over your tank, but still suck up all the algae, then I recommend nerite snails. But however, if you want to breed snails, I would say mystery snails or ram's horn snails, because those guys are really easy to breed. Yeah, if you want to breed snails. Now, snails are one of the fish that I mentioned that will need some calcium. Yep, one of the fish that will need calcium. Will suck on glass a lot. Now, anyways, I just have to do a bit of stuff here. Okay, done. Now, the next fish is called the Dwarf Loach. Okay, it's called the Dwarf Loach, and this is what they look like. They aren't like Kuhli Loaches that are gonna eat your snails. If you're one of the people who don't like snails, want them to eat the glass. If you're one of those people, then get chain loaches. Okay, now, if you're one of those people who like snails, then do not add the dwarf chain loach to your aquarium because they like to munch on snails. Now, yes, they are very cute and will like to munch on snails. Like, look at them. But one thing to consider, they're schooling fish. Now, next up, we got crayfish. Now, they say, okay, if you are planning to add one of these guys to your 10-gallon to clean up some stuff in your tank, then you can only fit one, since they get around 4 inches or so. But unless you're one of those people who says 4 inches is too big for 10-gallon. But even if you are one of those people, it's still okay if you're one of those people. Now, one thing. Oh, and I almost forgot. Crayfish will need calcium to survive. I think it's the last thing. No, not the last one, but thing on this list that needs calcium, like the tidal amount of crushed coral. And that's the last thing. And they are gonna eat some algae, but if you're a shrimp or a snail, they're too slow to catch them. But they can get algae. Next, we've got some freshwater aquarium clams. Now, one thing to consider, these things will bury into your substrate. So make sure you've got something like the sand substrate or gravel substrate. Yeah, sand or gravel substrate. Yeah, of what substrate you're choosing for the tank. If you're putting these little clams in, because they like to burn. So, here, rounded gravel, and you got some rounded gravel or sand. Next up on this list is the Bumblebee Catfish. Now, some people say you need to keep this in a 20-gallon or up. But just 1 second here. I would say that these guys can be kept in a 10-gallon as long as you just put like one single dwarf bumblebee catfish, and you actually have a lot of hiding places and some plants, and they'll be just fine. I think they eat algae just like pretty much every single other catfish. Oh, and one thing I forgot to say about the clams is that they're the last fish on this list that needs the calcium. Now back to the dwarf bumblebee catfish. Now these things they don't usually they're not usually violent. They have a peaceful temperament, and we'll probably munch on that algae in that place. Now here's the best thing on there. This list, the Dwarf Pleco. Now, out of all the Dwarf Plecos there are, I recommend the Dwarf Snowball Pleco. Now, I bet there's a bit more Dwarf Pleco things, like species, out there. But all I know is that they are pretty cute, and they like to go into caves sometimes. So if you have a cave in your tank, you're lucky. And one thing about all catfish, maybe not all catfish, but I know plecos, they love cucumbers, and they like to have a hiding spot. Okay, there you go. That was it. 10 cleanup crew fish. Like clean up your tank, but for a 10 gallon. So make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in next video. Bye.